All right, here we go.
Cool. All right.
Well, once we decide what this is, who wants to introduce it?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I think
wing
it's,
it, bro.
yeah, man, University of Badassery.
Well, dude, this is family.
This is hanging out with the buds, man, and guys that I like a lot and are friends, and then finally get together and talk about some fun stuff.
Well, that's exactly then how I'm going to let this start just like it started, because we're going to start with, we don't know whose podcast this is. This is a joint venture between the University of Badassery and Wes Whitlock, and of course Wes for all the sponsorship and all the great things that you do. Thank you so much for supporting the University of Badassery. This just, dude, you're a badass dude. You know what? This is family, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you almost said it. He is a badass.
Yeah.
And he's a good freaking cat, man.
I like you guys a lot.
Yeah, he's a good freaking cat. And we've known each other for shit, man. When 2012,
2012, because I just started my business. Yeah, and I was still working, matter of fact, because I went to your course.
Yep.
Was like, I'd heard about you in the industry with shooting, and at the time I was still working and active with training, and we had a good budget, so they would basically let us go to any course that was out there. And I was like, dude, this guy's here, I'm going. And my guy signed off on it, so I went up to the course, and then loved the course. And then Mac, I was like, dude, this guy's just hit it off. And then instant love affair. Yeah.
We were peas and carrots, bro.
I was like, dude, muscle cars and guns and whiskey and all the cool stuff.
all the
heavy metal,
all the dude stuff, all the basic dude stuff. For those of you who don't know, Wes is owner of Rogue American Apparel, and of course, boom, Invader Coffee, baby.
Yes,
That's
well,
shit.
that's the T-Max Blaze Out blends. That's a Ethiopian blend.
Yeah,
so,
break it down, bro.
So that's what we do is we air roast. People ask us all the time, why is your coffee different? That's a good question. So 1% of the coffee in the world is air roasted. 1%, because it's a hard process. It's a different way of roasting versus the typical drum roast. So the air roast roasts the bean at every angle, 360 degrees equally, where drum roasting, it's not. One side might be more burnt than the other.
Yeah.
So you kill
more use out of the bean.
More use out of the bean, and it kills the acidic. So you drink coffee has that acid taste.
Oh my God.
Ours doesn't. So that's what
Super
sets us
smooth.
apart with that roasting. And then on top of that, when we roast, the skin of the bean is usually left on the bean itself. Then they just grind it. It's a filler. Most companies leave that in there because it's expensive to extract that out. We extract that out, so you get your full coffee. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons behind the quality that we keep ours. We roast small, we get it out super fast. So, it's good. I always say, let the taste tell you. So when people ask, taste it. And at the end of the day, we want our people to be happy with what they're drinking and get some goodness out of it.
Man, it's so good. I've drank coffee all my life. I love coffee. I'm a coffee drinker. We talked about this one time. We said, okay, if you had to do away with
Oh, bro, that's such a hard one.
beer or coffee,
Beer
which
or
one?
Coffee.
We kept the coffee.
Man.
We said, got to have the coffee, man. I mean, as much as we love beer, it's shit.
Well, what's funny? Like, that's where the history of coffee really started. Like, left Africa and made it up to Europe. And back then, dudes in the morning were going to bars still. They're going to bars drinking and then going to work.
Right.
And like the fucking early part of the years,
Right.
fucking the 15th, 16th, 17th
That's
century.
my tribe, bro.
Yeah, they were. So they weren't, of course, then they weren't productive. And then coffee made its way up into Europe through the trades and stuff like that. And people started drinking it and like, man, I feel good, And then they started drinking it in the mornings and people coming to hang out, have coffee, and then go to work, So it's got a cool history behind it, and probably better to start your day with some caffeine and a couple shots, At least your boss would probably.
But
agree.
here's the funny thing, though, is that I'll drink two 20-ounce tumblers in the morning. That's how much it'll take me from, it's bulletproof. Also, I'll do fats and whatnot in it, but that'll go from like 5 in the morning to 11 to drink. Because the Yeti cup,
Really? No kidding.
the Yeti cup keeps it hot.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm just sipping it, and then I'll do another one in the early afternoon because it has twofold function. I'm getting the fats as well.
Yeah.
So the more fats I'm eating, the more satiated I am. I stay flying on ketosis.
Dude, you're in good shape too, bro.
When you match,
like,
we're old.
yeah, I'm like, dude, this dude's freaking.
When
ripped.
you match Tosis with coffee, especially, because people think, well, if I drank that much coffee, man, I couldn't sleep. We had a question in the squad recently about insomnia. I said, people were like, well, got to be careful, turn off the blue light from your screen and drink warm milk and, wave sounds and get your bathtub all right. I'm like, dude, I break all of those rules. And I'm asleep in 30 seconds. You know why? Because I don't give a fuck. That's why. People care. So people think, well, if I drink coffee, I said, dude, I drink coffee throughout the day. So I'll have the Invader in the afternoon as well. And that takes a while to drink. I had one from when I left the house and was finishing it as I'm pulling into Mac's driveway today. So that's that last one. And so now we got more here. But I don't get jitters from Invader. It doesn't affect me at all. I'll still sleep like a baby tonight. So I remember asking one time, dude, remember I was asking you, I said, dude, what's the deal? How come it's not giving me jitters? Because if that was freaking Folgers.
Yeah.
No, bro, forget about it. And Wes could speak to this too. Especially the darker the roast, the less caffeine it has in it. People think, oh, dark, strong. But that's why, like my blend, I wanted a double dark because I'm already super freaking hyped as it is. I mean, and so I drink 2 cups in the morning and then I have a 3 o'clock cup. But I could sit, down, drink a cup at 3 in the afternoon and take a nap, man.
You do. Well, you know how you feel revived after a power nap?
Yep.
So what I'll do is I'll make mine, because again, the tumbler keeps it hot. So I'll make it, I'll set it down, I go into my bed, and I lay down for 15 minutes. I'll go right out, I'll wake up, and then I drink that coffee. Holy crap, dude.
Yep.
I could write a book you can make a coffee as caffeinated as you wanted to. It tastes like shit. So when people say, oh, this is the strongest coffee, whatever, we can make it as strong as we want caffeine-wise. But it's going to taste horrible. So you got to find that balance where you have just enough where it still tastes really good.
Right.
And it's not overly done to where you get the jitters and all that stuff. So finding that balance.
It seems to me like this is kind of similar to like with the beer thing, with IPAs as opposed to just, drinking regular beer. In the sense that you're drinking it for a whole different reason than, Johnny Blue Collar is drinking his...
Then to get fucked up.
Yeah. Keystone Light.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So you got to go out of your way to do it. Yeah. You got there's a
NASCAR soda barley pop, bro.
Exactly.
NASCAR
soda pop. Yeah, there's a philosophy behind it. So if you're a more serious coffee drinker, then you're gonna because to me I'll drink because I want the coffee. So if I'm off somewhere and I can't get what I want, I'm gonna drink whatever the hell is there. That's cool, but. For me, my quality of life is determined by, something as abundant as coffee, and I'm going to be extremely particular. It's like a chair. Like I sit in a chair for so long, my whole life because of just what I do all the time. So I've been through 100 chairs. People are like, well, why you keep changing chairs? Because it's where I live.
Yeah,
my desk is where I live, so it matters to me how high it is, how wide it is, how deep it is, where the eye level is on something. When you're in a place for any given time, that's what you think. So it's like this. It's like, dude,
well, like we find, like when you talk about the quality. So the way I determine, I see it a lot, especially in the T-Max, because that is a high quality coffee. It's organic. It comes from some of the beans come from the best farms that we use in Africa for that blend. Is we find a lot of bean coffee versus ground. To me, a serious coffee drinker, you can always tell they always buy the beans because they want to grind them at home. So it's a good sign for us when we sell a lot of bean because it tells me these people are serious coffee drinkers. So I see that a lot with Max in particular. So again, and that's kind of what we strive for. People are like, oh, you guys should do an instant and you guys should do a non-caffeinated. And I'm like, fuck that. I want to do
you don't need to appease the masses.
No, man. No. I'd rather keep it,
keep it niche, man.
Yeah, so. Like a non-alcoholic IPA.
Right. I don't get it, bro. Like I just don't get that.
I just ordered for my oldest son. He said, Dad, I got to get some, because he will edit our stuff. So he's like, well, I'm getting invader propaganda in my face all the time. So he's like, Dad, I got to get some invader. I got it. So I ordered him a 5-pound bag of T-Max.
You don't need to order. You know my number, bro.
that one I had to order. I sent it to him, but it's whole bean.
Yep.
And
which,
because
by the way, I got to get some.
Yep.
Next shipment.
I'll have the shop send them out today.
Cool.
Because what he does is he follows Beethoven would grind his coffee every morning. 60 beans exactly.
Right.
So he makes a bulletproof coffee with counting the 60 beans. So he has this cup called Beethoven's Bullet.
Oh, right
That's
on.
badass. So he does this live thing called 6-string live, and he works on his guitar scalloping necks and all that crap. So he films all that, and then he makes this, counts out the beans. And I said, well, if you're going to do that, then you're going to do actual beans Invader T-Max Blaze Ops blend.
Yep.
I love it. Yep. A little army of 60 beans marching across. Yeah.
I don't know how strong that is or what how
that's
that works
cool.
out.
I never knew that. That's
But Beethoven did that.
special.
Yeah, so he wanted to do it that way. But
What'd that guy know anyway, bro?
Right, come on.
Beethoven.
that deaf bastard.
Beethavens.
Beethoven?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of the spin on that. But dude, this is cool to get together with you guys. Again, I've been, following your stuff for a long time.
Oh, man.
The metal motivator stuff's great because I tell dudes all the time that will come and like you probably get guys, hey man, I'm going through this or that or whatever. And a lot of times I'll send them over to say, go check this page out, because you're always putting out a lot of good facts out there and stuff that I think a lot of guys relate to problem-wise or life decisions, stuff like that. So love it, man. That's being real, dude. Love your stuff.
The messages are palatable,
yes.
right? CJ's, the metal motivators, messages are palatable. And everybody, I guarantee everybody when they're listening to him does this. Because they know it.
They know, man. How does that dude know that, man?
Yep. Yeah. He's right. That's me. They're all doing that. It's like with the Sentinel book thing,
Oh, yeah.
Dudes read that and they go, Yep, I should have had that ready, but because I knew it. But most of your messages are that. There's shit that we all know, but sometimes we just got to put a rubber band around our neck and snap the fuck out of it.
Yep. We'll have a gift for articulating the obvious.
Yeah.
But it's needed, man. That reminder is needed.
My kids are following.
Yeah.
They're following.
I told them, even the podcast, man, the University of Badassery, I was with my son traveling out to Utah, so we listened to podcasts, and he's like, no. I'm like, let's put on this, And then the intro comes on, man, and he's like, yeah. And then we start listening, and he's like, this is the best. This is my favorite. So we listen to all of them, man. So, and it's cool, too, because you guys go into a lot of cool subjects, with the Lewis and Clark adventure. That was wonderful. Man. That was a history lesson as well, and just another cool story that probably a lot of people don't know a lot about, and that one was awesome. And I love it. And when I saw my son was into it too, I was like, all right, cool. I love it. And it's cool to get with you guys finally. And the squad stuff too, man. The squad stuff you guys are doing.
Bro, that's
fucking badass.
That's a game changer. That squad, the Keep the Blaze Alive coaching squad. That shit's it's changing lives, man.
Yeah, dude.
And you know what? I mean, we started this thing. We created it, but I always have to remind the squad members that, hey, man, we're just moderators, bro.
Yeah.
I may be the squadron commander, but none of us are smarter than any of us. And it's a group freaking effort, man. It is. It's so interactive, and squad members are helping out other squad members.
Yeah,
they're having all these satellite dialogues between just squad members and all these different information share. Because there's a lot of SMEs
I think it comes
bro.
back down to that quality too that you talked about before, and keeping the quality, not in the product stuff, but the people that you're around, and the content you're putting out.
Right.
And I know this for a fact because when I helped do one that one time, I got a letter from a dude. I got messages from people. I got a letter from, it was from England or something.
Scotland,
dude.
John McRae.
So it's really
it's cool
good quality people on there, and there's chiropractors and doctors and like you said, then you can share that information. They can share information, and so it's cool. And at the end of the day, you guys are helping people out, man. You're doing a cool
dude,
thing.
It's great when we do we do twice a month for our tier 1 level. We do a Zoom call, and so that's face to face. It's not just the live stream where you're commenting on YouTube. So you look down at the gallery. You know how Zoom has the gallery of everybody's little thumbnails, and you see a couple of guys in their squad cars. Somebody in their firehouse.
In the firehouse.
Right.
Yeah.
You
know what I mean?
That's badass.
And you're like, damn, man.
Some guys are working on projects. You could tell that they're there, but they got shit to do,
Right.
Yep. It's neat.
It's pretty amazing.
And then a lot of them are just chilled back with a big old pint, bro.
That's what I want to be. That guy.
Big old glass of bourbon.
Yeah, I mean, we have these private Facebook groups. It's grown because we set it up on Patreon. Patreon doesn't have the greatest interaction type features. So you're not getting notifications. So it's hard to create any sense of community. So I said, all right, I'm going to create some Facebook groups for it. So I did that, and that's when things really leaped to the next level, because we got guys in there now that are like Jeremy, he's a EMT, and he's doing like video. He's doing like, showing people tourniquets and all that kind of crazy stuff. And we got people posting stuff. They're on hunting trips. They're on camping with their kids. They're building something. They're fixing something. Of course, everybody talks
Fight
about
lessons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're at the range that day. So it's like a gathering of eagles, man. It's not a bunch of chickens walking around. Now, no offense to the girls,
right? The chickens out back.
But it's a gathering of eagles. It's so many power brokers brought together with the right attitude and the right spirit. But it's hard to communicate that through a little Instagram post when I say, "Hey, sign up for the squad." Yeah. You know what I mean? I give them little clips of Mac's video because that's the thing they resonate with the most is they see Mac online. So it's all right. Well, let me show them they can go a hell of a lot deeper with Mac, not just in instructional videos. And it's hilarious to watch people comment on Mac's posts sometimes. Because we're like, dude, you should have a YouTube channel. Somebody said,
I wish I would have thought of that.
Thanks,
bro.
Why? So you can get more free stuff, bro? You want more free stuff? You're so damn generous with our time.
Yep.
But it's like, let's get, if you're really that passionate about Mac, and I had somebody write into the Badassery page the other day letting me know for the 1000th time that Mac's Facebook page was hacked. I'm like, oh, thank you very much,
dude. I know somebody actually sent me a message and with a picture. He's like, dude, I know this isn't Pat posting this. He's like, somebody must have broke, and I'm like, dude, obviously. So I messaged you or back. You're like, yep, last week. Yeah. It was like, I don't know, it was something.
It's been more than a month now, and I'm still going. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
It's been hacked.
Well, so this guy's like, he's acting. He goes, so what do we need to do, and how do we need to spread the word? How we need to? I said, well, bro, the first thing you need to do, is just start following on the University of Badassery because we echo everything he does there. And he goes, what's that?
Yeah.
I said, that's the podcast that Mac does. Oh, I didn't know that. Then how could you give this much shit about Mac, whether Mac's Facebook page has been hacked?
Yep. Right.
Dude, you are not invested at this point.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't have a dog in the fight.
No.
Yeah, so I ask somebody all the time, unless you're following Badassery, unless you're, been kicking around, I don't care if you're kicking tires about the squad. I get it. The lowest level is $19.97. I get it. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But it's a good investment. People spend more on burgers.
Comedic pause. $19.97, yeah. You blew that last night, on your first round. So, yeah, I mean, it's minimal investment. But if you're serious about going to the next level, with Pat Mac's content, and that's not counting all the other stuff.
All of CJ
that's
stuff.
On there. The live streams we do every week. Man. Yeah. If you're that, if you really love Pat Mac as much as you say you do, dramatic pause that time. If you really love Mac as much as you say you do, then you would enjoy being with him live for a couple hours every Thursday night where he's going to talk to you, answer your questions, and tell you what his favorite movie is from 1972.
Bro, we get ridiculous on those. The dialogue goes, it's all over the map, man. Yeah. It is everywhere. And we have no idea which way it's going to go because we don't rehearse shit. Yeah. I tell CJ, just turn it on. Let's see what happens. Let's let it materialize. And usually the best conversations come from just let it materialize. Let this thing develop. Yeah. And let's see what happens. Yeah. But we'll talk from politics to cars to the shit we did when we were kids to metal to movies to cooking, gardening,
yeah. I learned some stuff yesterday. I was out. Yeah, took me out back, showed me his garden. I was like, dude, this is nice, man. That winter garden,
bro, is crushing it this year. And so it's a little bit warmer than it should be right now in North Carolina. But it's a good thing for me because I put seeds in. So I'm trying something new this year. I grew a whole bunch of beets, carrots, and radishes. But they're in the delicate stage right now, those, brand new seedling leaves. So I'm glad that the weather's warm right now, but as soon as it gets cold, I'm going to make mini greenhouses just for those. The cabbages, the collard greens, the broccoli, all that stuff is hardy, and it will grow all during the North Carolina winter.
How about that?
Yep, and I'll be eating like crazy, man. I'm going to defrost some meat, and where's my veg? Oh, it's right there.
Need a little basil
it's
over
10
here.
yards. Yeah, it's 10 yards.
And you can learn all that in the squad.
Yep.
Right.
Look at all the information that you can get. Well, you access, what's fun about because we don't plan these things, it's not because we're not control freaks, A, but B, we're not lazy either. It's just that the biggest mistake we make is we start talking before we hit live.
Right.
And I always have to remind CJ, don't say anything.
Because I'm like, I'm already in motion. He's like, dude, let's hold it off and listen. So we literally will just turn it on in the middle of the conversation. So
it's kind of like today. That's what happened.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
setting up all this stuff.
It's
you
just-
know,
it's
and
just
then Pat's
better to
all right,
do it
turn
that
on.
way.
Let's rock it. Let's go, man. So what's good? It's organic, man, and it makes it's more relatable, I think, unless you're going to something for a specific information or whatever. But a lot of folks that just want some insight on some guys that they want to hear more about, then they get that organic content, I think.
Well, here's the thing,
and if they want to get into something specific, like cars or whatever, coffee or just business, life, whatever, I'm sure we'll talk about some of that stuff too, man.
I think one of the reasons why we bond, especially with you, Wes, is because you're a cultural sentinel. You know what I mean? You're watching over the culture. You have a passion for your country. You have a passion for people. You have a passion for the right things. We all feel like, things are under threat.
Right.
I'm not scared, but at the same time, keeping a cautious eye on what's going on. And so I think when we're at this place now where we have these powerful tools and this distribution technology of the internet, we can now use social media influence, to touch and reach people. How much of that is drive? Because people know you as, okay, this is the guy with Invader, this is the guy with Rogue American, but there's a whole lot more to what you do.
Yeah, no, it's I think it, in a way, it just helps keep you responsible for what's important in life, because it's easy to get sidetracked into some of the other stuff. So you can build your business around that too, just like what you guys are doing. You're giving out useful information that's truly helping people, and in some way, shape, form, matter, it has a purpose behind it, So you can use your business, use your business for how you want to grow your business and all that, and you can also. For me personally, I gotta have something more going on because it's not fulfilling enough.
Right.
$1 million, it's not. It's all right. This is great, but it's still something not there unless we're involved with something cool. And that's what this stuff does kind of help with. And for me, like even these, we're together now. Like we've talked, we've done all this stuff, but you have to put in the effort to make all this stuff happen. And then once you do it, it's like, oh, great, man! I'm so glad I did that. So it's neat, man. It's again, just kind of keeping up with that responsibility that you have, and for the guys that you're around too, man. Because everybody's putting their time in here, man, and I appreciate it. And you guys lift me up in a lot of ways too, man. So I love it, man. So
dude.
It's cool. I just realized this is I think the first time that we've only had a threesome a few times, but all three of us self-made peeps, Not only self-made, but none of us are like from a Trustafarian douchebag background. And we've all had to scrape and scratch and work our freaking asses off to get where we are today.
Yeah.
Bro, man, and it's really, really cool, because Wes's background is sort of similar to mine. He was a military guy, and they did contracting stuff, which I think would be cool to talk about.
Yeah, dudes are always asking about that. Yeah.
And then he was in business with other people, like I was when I retired.
Right.
And, learned some hard lessons.
Yeah. Learn a million things to do, a million things not to do.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the ways we connect, because there's some similarities with what we've all kind of done and experienced, and like Pat just said, a lot of people don't see the work that goes behind, building this way. Oh, that must be nice. Well, dude, yeah, you don't know. I did a lot to get here. Like we were talking about last night. Like you finally, all that hard work is paying off, man. Yep. So not giving up and continue to work, and then stuff starts happening. Too many people give up too easy because it's like, man, this is hard, or I just can't do it anymore. And everybody has those hard days, man. Sure. So yeah, this is what's great about this kind of stuff, and the positive side of social media and all that is getting to do stuff like this. So yeah, man, it's badass.
Well,
very cool.
you worked very hard to be this fortunate.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I told Rebecca, I told Wes yesterday that I told Rebecca yesterday morning. I said, Rebecca, I just realized something. I showed her a knife from my knife set, from kitchen knives. I said, we are the people now who could buy a better knife set. Mm-hmm. I'm 55 freaking years old, and I've finally gotten to that point where I could sigh, I could take a pause and
Right.
go, damn, man. All right. Yep. This is good. By the way, it doesn't mean that I'm going to sit on my freaking ass. I'm still going to jam shit into the pipeline.
Yeah.
And Rebecca and I are always thinking, like we were talking prior to this, what's the next thing? What is the next thing? I got this going on, this going on, this going on, this going on, and then these 4 side projects. But what else can we jam in the pipeline?
Yeah.
Because I think what will scare me is getting comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
I like, it's an age-old saying, but I am very comfortable being uncomfortable.
All right.
And I want to maintain that for as long as possible.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, you have to impose suffering on yourself, which is not what people want to do.
Right.
Luxury and ease creates a weaker people. So we're all standing big and bold on the capital of those who went before us. The pioneers, the industrialists, the political leaders, those who fought revolutions and civil wars and all of these things. We're standing in spending Western capital like it's going out of style, not replenishing it, mind you, just spending it. So, we were talking offline a little bit. It's just like, you can't change the world with a deadlift. It's important that you know how to get yourself physically where you need to be, mentally where you need to be, spiritually, if that's your thing, where you need to be, financially where you need to be, your relationships. You've got to be bulletproof from every angle. Because that's the kind of, otherwise you become part of the problem. And so, one of the reasons why we don't get overly political on this podcast is because there's no solution in politics, because politics cannot produce character. And that's our problem. It's character that's at stake. It's character that's being weakened. So our job is to restore, if you will, spiritual capital. You know what I mean? The things that built the civilization that we have, self-government, independence, taking care of your own shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Loving your wife, loving your kids, staying out of debt so you're not enslaved. Like the Bible says, oh, no man, nothing but to love them.
Like
hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right on.
So long as, to those whom you're in debt to, there's a slavery element there. So we want to be free as much as we can. So your debts are limited. It's not saying don't be in debt, just saying keep it limited. Yep. Get that thing paid off in 5 years. Get that thing paid off in 7 years. So you're not perpetually in debt, but free money and all this. So even people that I'll hear say, we need to go back to the gold standard and all these things. You guys could never survive hard money because all of this free credit and stuff would go away overnight. And suddenly you can't buy anything anymore because you don't have those hard assets. We're all on crack financially, domestically, in our social, we're all on this cheap capital. And so what do? I can't fix it with a politician. That's a stopgap measure. You get your guy in office, your gal in office, okay, that'll protect you for the next 4 years over these particular policies. But is that a long-term solution for Western civilization? Because there's some people out there who'd like to end it.
Right.
Everything from your liberty to your Christmas carols. They want it all gone. You know what I mean? So if we don't, then what do? Well, you have to go to education. You got to start educating people through the means that we have right here to get them to say, hey, wait a minute, man. Let me come out of this matrix sleep.
Yeah.
Unplug these motherfuckers.
Well, it's like Pat said, it's all those dudes that made those changes and did those hardships and made positive changes in civilization ever since the beginning were uncomfortable as hell, I'm sure, and now these guys are comfortable today living on credit, living behind computers, living off the government, wanting free things, free college, whatever. That will lead you to destruction of your society for sure. And that's kind of what I see is happening. Like, what do? You kill religion. You can't go to church, bro, but you can go and burn buildings.
Right.
You can't go to school now. You're going to have to stay home and put on a mask.
Right.
And then the internet doesn't work and their kids aren't getting that education. Right. So, and the economy. So all these things are happening in front of us. Yeah. So that's why it's good to know that there's people out there like you guys and other folks we know
like
that are,
you, bro,
that have gardens, bro, that are training, that are staying in the mindset, that are teaching their kids, that are helping their community. I saw Pat's he's got a refrigerator on his porch, bro, like with snacks for like the mailman, and like the dudes driving by that are delivering packages or whatever, with a note on there and some power bars and stuff. So that's cool. It's a sense of community, man, and it's a sense of.
I can't take credit for that. That was all Rebecca.
Well, yeah, there you go. But it's that's the kind of stuff I like to see, and I think more Americans started doing that versus gimme. Let me open my hand. Let me open my heart. I heard that recently by a preacher, actually, and I've been trying to be better about that. With that, and I think that at the end of the day, that's really what life's about. Is building your community.
Yeah, so. It's the law of sowing and reaping, right? Reap what you sow. Because I know if I hang on to anything, resources, money, whatever, a seed, that's the most it's ever going to be. But if I let it go and go into the ground, that's the least it's ever going to be. You know what I mean? You got to let go of that seed, those resources, in order for it to grow, to plant, to create harvest. And so for me, I'm always planting, I'm always sowing because I always want to be harvesting. So what I do now creates opportunities for 6 months from now, 12 months from now. So the stuff that we're saying now is going to be heard by certain people who we'll get connected with, who could be major players in what we do and what you do. We haven't met them yet, but this is the first podcast we're listening to, and we won't hook up and get connected for 12 months from now.
No.
But all I had to do was show up. That's all I had to do is just keep doing what I know to do.
But show up, do it, put your foot in that, put that foot forward, show up somewhere. And a lot of people I think are afraid to because they're scared to go into that unknown, But if once you do it, you're like, and I've been in situations, I'm sure you guys have too, where I didn't know shit, bro. Like I remember getting a job one time and this was in Italy and I didn't speak Italian at the time. I was a poor student. I was just out of the military. I sold everything to live over there and go to school. The school I was going to never had a vet ever attend. I didn't know what the GI Bill was. So I had to really fucking bust my ass to get going. And I went into this gym and I asked the owner there, like, hey man, can I scrub the floors? Can I do whatever, work in the locker room? He's like, no, you're going to teach. You're going to be an instructor. Because over there, they have their personal trainers walk around with a shirt that says Instruttore. And anybody can walk up to him and say, hey, how do you use this machine? Or what's this? And he comes down, he gives me the sweatshirt, the green sweatshirt, the instructor, and he's like, go. And I walk out to the floor, bro. Go. It's like, dude, people, just old ladies and, anybody who was in there would come up. And I'm the American, I'm the American guy in there. So, of course, they want to come see what's up. Yeah. And come fare questa macchina and all stuff. And I'm just like, oh, shoot, So every day just kind of, and fuck, I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do that because it's embarrassing. I don't know how to, and I'm going to teach these guys how to do this stuff. But every day I learned more and more and more and more and more. And then so it was a cool lesson for me, like in other parts of life where I'm like, I don't know, but go there, show up, do your best, work hard, and it's going to work out for you. It will work out. You'll learn whatever it is you need to learn. And if not, if you don't, and you fall and it doesn't work out, maybe it wasn't for you. But if you're passionate about it and driven and saying, like me, my motivation was I had to pay bills, bro. Like I got to eat.
Right.
I will learn this. I'll go home and study this stuff and talk as much as I can. So yeah, it was cool. But it's, again, taking that step forward, and maybe it's through desperation. Like, I just have to do this, or it's just you want to better yourself or whatever. I'm going to read this book or whatever that goal may be. It's just doing it. You got to sit down and actually do it and stop talking about it. I tell dudes all the time, it's the execution. You can sit there and talk about stuff all day long with people, like ideas. You probably get it. You guys should do this. You guys should do this. You should do this. Yep. Yeah, I would love to, bro. But I got all this other stuff I got to do. Or you got an idea, then do it. Run with it, bro. Make it happen.
Raise your own babies.
Just show up, man. It's such an easy, simple philosophy to follow. And like you said too, and there's that chance that you could fall flat on your face, but you're still going to grow from that. Yeah. I mean, how many times in the University of Badassery podcast have I talked about all my failures, bro? Yeah. But, and I wouldn't change a single freaking one of them. But the just show up thing, because I say it all the time. People ask me, hey, I'm thinking I want to join the military and I want to go special ops. And basically I tell them that, I don't say show up. I say, you got to get your foot in the door first. One step at a time, my man. One step at a time. It's like working out. How do you get motivated? Bro, what you don't see is, number one, I have to show up. I have to go to my driveway and I have to start moving.
Yeah.
I have to do it. Once I show up, something's going to happen.
Right.
But I have to take that first step.
Yeah, it's hard to steer a parked car.
Yep.
Right. So it's like, if you don't, well, I get this with young people, especially when they're going to college or whatever, or they're just trying to make a decision about, where do I go? They feel like they have to know specifically what they're going to be doing 15 years from now and to make their present decision. I said, no, it's too hard to make a specific decision. It's easier to make a general decision.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just start heading
general cone of direction.
and in that general cone of direction, because that'll get you moving.
Yep.
Yeah. Otherwise, you sit there and question, should I do this, that, or the other? And then I'm not doing anything.
not doing anything,
So
yeah.
like, let me just go ahead. Or if it's a big, huge goal, and you're like, I don't know, man, that's a lot. But if you just take it step by step, course by course, class by class, take those little steps to get into it, to the bigger picture. And it's the same in business, man. And you got to put these little pieces together, man. Like when starting a podcast, dude, I want to do it. I got the content, I got the dudes, but I don't know what mics to get. I don't know what, until you do it, these little things, and then you slowly start to put it together and build it. And the same with the business or whatever. I look at them as bricks, every it's a brick, man. So lay your foundation and then start building upon that with little things. And like you said, you might get up here and you will fail. I don't care who you are, what you do in business, life, military, whatever it may be. There's going to be fucking failures, dude. And it's going to hurt, but you're going to learn from it, hopefully, and say, you know what, let me get up and do it again, and maybe I'll go this direction because I got fucked up over there, and go this way, or learn how to fix and patch that. So it's what it's all about.
So many people, like we encounter it in the squad. There's people who, again, they're not like we were when we were young, where you're driven by hunger and all of these things that to make your life better. That's how come we settle. So that's the people we attract most are the people that they've drifted into mediocrity, right? Because I like to say that when your discomfort is comfortable enough to tolerate for the rest of your life, that's when you'll settle.
Yeah, that sounds miserable. Yeah.
But you used to be, because before that time, you were in dire straits. So the discomfort drove you to where you are now. It's just that now the discomfort is comfortable enough.
Right.
Yep.
So the challenge we give to them is you have a sacred duty to yourself to maximize all that you are and all that you can do. And so until you start imposing that, so what I do, I tell them, I got to dress up your everyday. So if I don't dress up your everyday, if I don't make your Monday look like Friday, you're not going to get it, because you're going to think it's just Monday. Oh, it's just Tuesday. It's just another day in the week, another day in the grind. No, it isn't, man. You got to dress up your everyday. It's like when your old lady comes out and, she's usually actually is at home just in sweatsuit pants, no makeup, hair all up, and she says, I'm going to the store. And you think, okay, cool. Get me some beer, right? That's it. The next day she comes out and she's dressed to the nines. And she's like, I'm going out. And you're like, whoa. Where you going? You know what I mean? What's the difference? Same lady. She's dressed up, right? You got to dress up your everyday. There's a lot of life that's lived in the meantime, bro. And if you don't dress those up and give those meaning and purpose and know that you are, every day, for our tier 2, tier 3, I do a business and marketing courses. And the one I'm on now is a whole series on goals. And this episode I just did is called Progressive Dominion. So it's about gaining little by little. So what you were talking about, just kind of get started here, build this there, add, you learn as you go, right? You're right. Write as I learn as I write. Get that book started, in other words. People think they got to know everything before I write the book. No, write as you learn as you write. Just start writing. Like Mac would talk about when he writes. He says, I just pour the content on paper. I'm not trying to edit,
bro. Yeah.
Not trying to make it perfect. I'll get back to that.
Yep.
You just got to get what's in here. That's how you wrote the Sentinel.
Yep. 17 hours. Well, all the ideas, and that was straight.
Right. You dumped.
Yeah, I just dumped. And I had, in 17 hours, I had like 60 pages.
Dang.
And then you massage it, you cut and paste and copy and fill stuff in and articulate. But I just dumped everything. And I realized when I was typing that, I was like, holy shit, I know a lot of stuff, bro. I know a lot of stuff. But I had no idea how much I knew until I started reflecting, and thinking about different schools I've been through and, and all this. I mean, think about all the crap. Like, for those who don't know, and I'm just going to give our viewers and listeners a reminder, because, sometimes when I listen to a podcast, I'll miss the intro and I'm going, who the hell are they talking to? Right. So, hey, we're with Wes Whitlock from Rogue American Apparel and Invader Coffee. self-made dude.
Yep.
So, but anyway, I wanted to ask, because I don't know if we've ever chatted about that. I mean, I know that after the military, you did contracting work, but you did EP, right? Didn't you do executive protection?
Yeah, EP after. So I did the high threat stuff with the government.
Right.
So we took care of the ambassador Kalalazad. He was the U.S. first appointed U.S. ambassador to Afghanistan, and worked his detail. Taking him to ministries and whatnot, and then got into the long range stuff. So when it worked on a detail that took like geologists and stuff like that up into rural areas of Afghanistan to go study the ground and all that stuff, well systems, rebuilding infrastructures, courthouses.
What year?
That was 2004 through
so
2008.
Yeah, very hot. Hot
Yeah,
as
when it
far
was
as like
early
up-tempo and
busy,
action.
man.
Yep.
Very busy. So that's when we were laying our diplomacies down there in, with Afghanistan, the president. We were at President Karzai's palace every night. We'd take the ambassador, they would meet. We used to joke, we'd be on the cars, like they're in there playing freaking Xbox, man. I want to get back to the hooch,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was kind of cool to see that. And then, any diplomat that came in there from Rush, or even Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, vice presidents, we were the first detail to run within a Secret Service detail because that was our AO, Kabul. And when the Secret Service came to do their advance, dude, they don't know how to drive in Kabul.
They're pretty amiable to that, though, as far as like bringing on people who are SMEs in that area.
Yep.
They're like, well, you guys are the experts and you have good credibility in this industry. So they're good about that.
Yeah. That was the first time I had worked with them. And so we had Cheney when he came and took him. We're in their motorcade, actually, which was kind of cool. So yeah, doing stuff like that. And then the next day could be like, oh, dude, we're taking this 23-year-old State Department person up to look at a village in Herat, or one time we flew into, because the mission every day was different. You're like, hey, a bird crashed. You're going to go up there and find the black box. The next day, you're taking the State Department person to go to a meeting. Man. The next day, we went to Ishmael Khan runs he's a warlord of Herat, so near the Iranian border. And we took the DCM, the Deputy Chief of Mission, is the assistant to the ambassador. So if the ambassador's gone, he steps in. Yep. We called this guy actually Mr. Magoo because he looked like Mr. Magoo. And
for those who know,
yeah. And then we took the director or the head of the DEA at the time that was there. They were doing burning crops and stuff like that of the opium and all that stuff. So we flew. It was me and one other guy. Cannonball. That was his real name, Cannonball. His sister's name was Crystal. Wow. True story. So we flew in. It was on a Russian airplane, man. And as you know, when you come down and you kind of spiral down,
you corkscrew down, bro.
Yeah. So we're corkscrew, and it's like, and the pilots were Russian or something, and they're in there. There's like a freaking bottle of fucking vodka. The dude's like, like wrestling this fucking thing, and it's a cargo plane. But we had our principals in there, so we're standing up there and. We're all like, dude. Anyway, land in there, and there's a war going on in Herat at the time. The warlord's fighting another border warlord. So there's dudes driving around in Hiluxes with fucking masks on and AKs and fucking RPGs. And it's me and one other dude, man, with the DCM and this lady with the DA. And we go to Ishmael Khan's residence. We'd already had a meeting scheduled there, so we get up there. And at this point, we had some Army support. It was a guard unit out of like Minnesota or something. Yeah, right. Kids in Humvees, bro. It was just like, and they're staged outside, and me and Cannon are inside. He's the AIC at the time, so he goes with the principals into Ishmael Khan's office, and I'm down stairs in this room, dude. Like I'll never forget. It was like these murals of Russians and Mujahideen. Who were like fucking cutting the heads off these Russians and these crazy freaking murals in this huge room of anti-Russian stuff.
Damn.
It was, dude, I was like, and so I'm sitting in there and we're talking. I'm like, yeah, good to go down here. He's doing his meeting. And then all these dudes just start piling into this room and they're bloody. They're changing their magazines. And these dudes were just out fighting. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck.
Come in for a 5-minute break.
Yeah, dude. And they're so they don't know. And I'm standing in there, dude. I had a 203, my M4. We dressed a little different there. We were in the military clothes and stuff like that. And these dudes are all coming and just fucking looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy, you know? And I'm standing there talking pyro like, dude, about 30 dudes are down here. They're bloodied and beaten and they're changing mags. They're all looking at me really harshly right now. And he's like, here's a plan. You know, if something goes down, I'm going to take Ishmael Khan as a hostage because he's the warlord. And if things go bad, this is what we're going to do. Right, roger that. So we kind of put a plan in place just in case things got weird. You know, these guys were not in it. They just didn't know who we were. So we had to put a plan in place, you know. And I'm like, all right, this is my plan. I'm going to launch a 203 into that group over there and do whatever I can here so you guys can get out. Because at that point in that work, as Pat knows, or guys have done protection work, like it's not even about your dudes or you. It's about the person you're protecting.
Your principal.
Yeah, your
Bro,
principal.
that job sucks so freaking bad.
Yep.
I've done it for 3 generals and an ambassador, and then had some strap hangers like Hillary Clinton.
Yep. We had her.
Madeleine Albright.
Favorite story.
Yeah. You know, a bunch of those politicians like that. But man, dude, man, I got to freaking protect the king for a day. King of Jordan, Abdullah, who is cool as shit, you know?
I've heard that, man. I've heard he's a good dude.
He is just such a man's man, you know?
Yep.
And
like that
takes
kind
care
of
of
work,
his people.
That kind of work, I think, is more enjoyable for it's sort of overseas stuff because it's reality. Like you're going to places where people want to kill you. They want to kill them. They're out there ready and waiting and planning. So it's very, you know, you have to be on freaking point. And then you come to the stateside EP, executive protection type stuff, which is a whole different world. So a lot of those guys can't transfer over, assimilate to that type of work because it's different dynamic. So if you're working for, say, an executive, a businessman who has a family, and they usually have a small detail of guys that protect them and their entire family. Right. That means every kid has a guy. Everywhere they go, there's somebody. That works a lot more difficult in the sense that now you have the dynamics of working with personalities, people who are paying you. Right. So, for instance, I tell guys is here's, you know, say you get assigned to a kid, one of their kids, 12 years old. She wants to go to a movie theater with her friends. And in that line of work, you want to give them space. You don't want them to feel like, oh, I got this big monkey behind me because their friends ask, they get embarrassed, all this stuff. So you got to play this hiding game. Well, you got to be close enough to be able to do something if something goes down, but you can't be up on them like you can when you're over. You're right with your principal. Like, and if not, things aren't good, you're going to tell them we're going. Right. This world's different. You're dealing with kids and moms and stuff like that. But you want to be able to protect them in case something goes down. You know? So it's trying to find that balance, you know. So now you're in the theater with it's a Disney kids movie. You're giving her space, or you're sitting back 3 or 4 rows, and you're just this dude in this movie theater with moms and kids, and they're just looking at you like, who's this guy? You know?
Creep. Yeah.
You know, so if you're not prepared for those type of situations, I tell guys don't get in that line of work because there's a lot of you have to adapt to a lot of environments quickly. Where the high threat stuff is like, dude, we're aggressive. Our presence is known. We're gonna do this. Where this is, you have to kind of hide in the shadows, but you have to be there. Like the pie in the face that happened to Bill Gates. You know, these guys couldn't be close enough. He shouldn't have had a pie in his face. You know, yeah, it happens, and then they get mad because where's my guy? Well, dude, you wanted us to back off. You know, so it's that's job way harder, bro.
Yeah, because I had to do mix that up with the ambassador.
Yep.
There was sometimes we were on them like stink on shit. Other times we had to, back way off, hide in the shadows, give them space. Because you're also protected. You're not protecting them necessarily from, not just from danger, but from embarrassment. Yeah. You got to protect their dignity. So you have to do all of that stuff. Even
because you represent him
like
in
if
a way.
their fly's undone.
Right.
Yep.
You got to go up and say, hey, boss, your fly's undone. You know, you have to, because if you don't, then that's on you. You have to, every freaking thing, you know, hey, you got a piece of broccoli in your teeth. You're fixing to go talk to these people. But living in somebody's hip pocket like that, man. I mean, the high risk stuff must have been cool as shit because I did, you know, mine was high risk-ish, but not like that. I mean, in Bosnia, it was still high risk, but I was with one guy. So I knew his move. Yep. You know, we knew his demeanor. We knew his scheme of maneuver. Right. We knew what he wanted to do. We knew his favorite places for coffee.
Yep.
You know, we knew all that stuff.
Yeah, that world is different for sure, and it's like I said, the overseas stuff, and even like I said with the ambassadors, because it didn't. And if you embarrass him, dude, you're freaking gone, bro. I did not like that dude right there. Where he just pushed that Haji kid, whatever.
Yep.
Because now he's embarrassing my presence. Like I'm setting diplomacy. I'm trying to represent the United States of America, and I got these guerrillas over here beating up people. You know. Luckily, I was fortunate. Worked with in the early days really good dudes like Pat's level. You know, guys that were getting out, just got out, and they wanted to make $1,000 a day and a big fat bonus and a great freaking job. It was really good quality dudes, man. And then over time, as it got saturated and more security was needed, there was only so many people out there. They started,
they pick from.
Yeah, so we would, and then that dynamic started changing, like 07, 08. And then the pay started going down, so a lot of dudes started bouncing. That's when I came back to the States to do stateside EP, because it just wasn't worth it anymore. I was like, I had a kid and stuff like that, because it is. And at that point, the IDs got it's so advanced. Or in the early days, they weren't really there, man. So 03, 04, 05, 05, 06, they started seeing more of the EFP, the armor piercing ones and stuff that were coming out. And then it was just like. And then they were heavily targeting the motorcades, and that was always an issue for me too. As a motorcade, like I like low vis, man. We did the low vis height, going out to freaking up in the valleys and stuff like that. We had Hiluxes. We drove what the Afghans drove, so they didn't know you were coming. Right. But in the city. In Cabo is the Suburbans. You knew where they were coming, man. But
those things are low vis, bro. In Cabo.
We would tell the State Department, we're like, dude,
shiny black Escalades.
Let's get at least get Toyota 4Runners, man, which are better vehicles in that environment. We busted, we smoked so many Suburbans, man. Yeah. Suspensions blown, engines catching on fire. They're not made up for those. Roads are full of potholes, man. And you run hard. You're within a couple feet, maneuvering off each other and dancing, and you run those vehicles hard, man. So the Toyotas I always thought were the best for that line of work, man. But it's I think there's still a lot of stuff going on out there. But as far as I know, when I've talked to dudes that are still there, they mostly fly everywhere now. They fly on birds to fobs and stuff like that, where we used to drive everywhere, and now they kind of hop around on birds, and they don't maneuver as much, especially to the ministries and stuff like that. I haven't really followed up much on what's going on there with that world, but a lot of guys ask about it, and like Pat said, it's sometimes getting that foot in. Like it's hard to get your foot in some places, but if you've meet the right folks and you go into the right areas and do the right things, you can find a way in. We talked about earlier, getting up. There's always another way up the mountain. There's always, even in business, real quick, this was a good example. I was just telling, I met with the Blackwater guys today, actually, one of the guys, another great company, but talking about even in business, if a door closes on you or whatever in life, that's not it, man. And recently, it was with our coffee. I was getting in one of the biggest H-E-B grocery stores in Texas, which they laughed at first. Like, that's the hardest product to get on our shelves. Not going to happen.
Really?
I was like, really? And I like a challenge. I like when somebody tells me no.
Hell yeah, bro.
I'll fucking show them.
It's impossible.
Yeah, dude.
It ain't going to happen.
No.
Watch us.
Yeah. So this guy basically shuts us down. I'm like, all right, let me do some research here. So I went around, I met with managers at the stores, and every one of them, hell yeah, we want Invader in there. Yes. I went down to their museum in San Antonio, read the mission statement on the wall. Their mission statement echoed our mission statement and how they started. Small Texas business, started small, grew veteran owned. We've given back to a lot of community. We've been involved with a lot of cool stuff. How are you telling me no, bro? So I was like, all right, let me do a taste test with everything you have. Give me that, bro. Yeah. Went down there, blind taste test, crushed everybody. So at this point, I'm like, you can't say no to me, man. I have managers who want it. I have 5-star reviews. I got everything that you guys say you are. And this dude was still being an ass. So I grabbed my stuff. I picked it all up because he had already decided he was not going to he didn't, I don't think he liked us, whatever. It was one of those things when you walk in a room and you just know that dude's just like, no.
Right. Personality
conflict. Yeah, personality, big time. And it was a power trip because it ends with me. I make decisions. Right. And he told me that when we were leaving, I'm like, roger that. Left. All right, let's research who that guy's boss is and who's the boss his is. Found him with some research, contacted him directly, wrote our story. And they're like, really? That sounds like you guys were a perfect match for us. Right. I was like, that's what I think. And then the vice president's guy was like, I'm going to send my guy who manages all the stores to your shop. He's going to send him.
Oh my God.
So this dude shows up, bro, David. And within 5 minutes of walking around my freaking compound of fucking awesomeness, he's like, Chevelle, dude, I got a 69 Camaro. Jim, dude, I got stones at my house.
Oh, wow.
Boom, we're just hitting it off with this dude, man. And then he tries like, yeah, we're going to make this happen. So again, had I taken that first initial no with this ass, and he was also a military guy, which I was like, oh, he's probably the guy that you're turning in your gear. And he's like, nope, not good enough. Go back. And, one of those dudes. Yep. And he called it jumping the chain. And I was like, let me tell you, bro, this isn't the military anymore, bro. Like, I'm going to go to the next dude.
Right.
The chain of command, bro. There's no chain of command in life, bro. Like in business, when you're hustling, there's no fucking chain of command. My chain of command is going to end when I decide it ends, not when this dude tells me. So, anyway, yeah, that was
that's
another
kick-ass, man.
Yeah, it was, dude. It was. I loved it.
I haven't heard that.
No, dude, I haven't told a lot of people, but it got. I just remember leaving that room. I grabbed I had this black Pelican case with all my brand research, all of my facts, dude, and I had my samples out. And I just kind of threw them all in there and grabbed it, and I was like, I just walked out, and then as soon as we left, pulled over and started researching who the bosses were. And then boom. It was cool, man. So I just tell guys, door closes or there's a roadblock, there's a way over that thing. Yeah. You just got to want it bad enough to do it,
Yeah, it's an obstacle, not a barrier. I used to tell people that all the time in life. Say, there's so many barriers. It's not a barrier, man. It's just an obstacle. Yeah. You just got to negotiate your way around it, over it, through it. That's all it is.
The obstacle is the way. Yeah. Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, man. It's a true age-old fact, man,
Yeah, well, that's the fatalistic people. The fatalism that people get into is they think they're looking for signs. Mm-hmm. They're looking for circumstantial evidence that am I supposed to do? You'll see them say it when their little relationships don't work out. I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Meant to be by whom?
Right. What does that mean?
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it is what it is if you make it. No doesn't mean no, and resistance doesn't mean shit. It just means you got to get creative. It just means it's not easy. It just means that's why there's so few people that do these type of things, because it's so easy to quit. It's so easy to negotiate yourself into mediocrity when you can still turn on light switches, keep food refrigerated, and go through a drive-through. Mm-hmm. You're still living like a king, so you're like, well, what am I missing? You convince yourself to live with where you are instead of saying, no, I'm hungry as hell. But people are like, but that's the thing is people aren't hungry. I used to tell people, you got to be hungry. And they said, well, how do I be hungry? I said, well, nobody came out of the womb an alcoholic. Nobody comes out of the womb enjoying the taste of an IPA or bourbon or whatever. At some point when you're like 13 years old, you had to steal a beer with your brothers from the refrigerator and force it down, and it did not taste good. Right. But you kept forcing it down until you acquired a taste for it. Peer pressure was enough to get you to acquire a taste for these things, and now you're hooked. Now you're into this sort of thing. So you can feed the addiction. You can feed, it's called the vein of obsession. You get down deep enough into something, you can find obsession. But you got to get a taste. You got to get a taste of little victories, man. You got to get a taste of some little wins in life. Like that for you is a big win. Mm-hmm. But that's not a plateau reached.
Yeah, that's a small. That's not even a chapter in Wes's book, bro. That's a paragraph. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's cool as hell because I haven't heard that whole story. But
you were talking about that yesterday too. With Mac was saying, like with the coronavirus for what's happening right now, and everybody's man, and it sucks. Yeah, a lot of people lost jobs, businesses, stuff like that. But you always try to find a positive and a negative, or you try to turn the situation into your favor somehow way, and you can if you get creative enough. Like Mac with the Chronication and all, like he's doing all this cool stuff and all these cool projects, and and they've turned it into a positive things, and you can find that in other things in life that just crash because of whatever reason out of your control. Instead of getting upset about it and falling victim to it, you say, you know what? I'm going to find a way to make that a good thing for me in my life somehow, some way, and you just have to have that. Put in the effort to make that happen, because the sign's not going to come at you and say, "Oh, here's a hand from God," whatever. Right. You got to put in the effort. You got to get up. You got to show up. You got to push.
Drive, and then people will ask, "Well, how do I get drive?" And guess what? just show up.
Yeah, exactly. You got to drink the beer when it doesn't taste good, man.
Well, I think that's another thing, and I and even I ask sometimes, like, and I know certain things, whatever, and people ask, like, so drive, like, where, and they ask, how do I get that?
Right.
How do you get it?
Yeah.
Where's yours, Matt?
Right.
What's your drive, bro? Is it just like, where's yours? Like, what? There is no magic answer, man. It's
no elixir.
Yeah, no elixir, man. You just gotta show up, and you gotta put up, and you gotta push.
And then
push on.
once you have that first success block, unless you accept mediocrity, you want another success.
Yeah,
block.
that's what he was saying.
Another
Yep,
one,
you're right.
another one.
Yep.
So with me, that's how it was all the way through the military. Even all the way through
you
the
hit
military,
the pinnacle, man.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's like, what's my next step? All right. And then you get to there and you go, oh man, this is cool. What's my next step after this?
Yeah.
And then what's my next one after this? There's got to be, a pinnacle at some point.
It's interesting you say that, because when I talk to people about direction in life, I'll often say to them, it's like, what do I need to do? And I'll just, take the logical next step. They're thinking it has to be something big.
Grandiose.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean?
Yep.
It can be just something simple. But what I love about your story, Wes, is that it's like I tell people, if you're telling me it's up to me, you're giving me good news. You say that to a lot of people, it scares the hell out of them because they can't trust themselves. So if suddenly Ethiopian coffee beans were criminalized and the cotton industry's gone, so you can't get T-shirts, you're not SOL.
Yeah. I'm going to go to Eritrea. No, I mean, there's always another place to go, But if you're not forecasting that, if you're not forecasting those things happening, you're wrong, because it's going to happen.
Yep.
And if you're not planning for it, just like with anything in life, then look at Max, his build out here. He's ready. He's ready for a lot of things because he's planned. And I think if you do that, you got to do that in business too, because if you get comfortable and sit back, and this too, especially in marketing, oh, cool, man, we're kicking it, putting my feet back, and I'm making money. This is good. There'll be a point where those things are going to change. Buyers change, market, all those things change. So if you're not studying and forecasting with what's happening in that world, then you're going to be playing catch up all the time. Yeah. So it's kind of better to be on the other end where others are trying to catch up to you.
Yeah. We talked about in the one of those Zoom meetings. We talked about contingency planning. Yeah. Contingency planning in life.
Yep.
Have that backup. Always think. If this goes to shit, what am I going to do? And if you have that, and it doesn't have to be a great plan.
Right.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But a decision, even shitty, is generally less disastrous than indecision.
Right.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. To make no decision is a decision.
Yep.
Right.
Right. Yes. You decided to make no decision.
It's going to be imposed. Yep. What happens to you circumstantially will be imposed on you. So people tend to be, they'll say, again, these fatalistic things like, it'll work itself out. Really?
Right.
Something's going to get worked out. It's not going to be the circumstances you wanted that are going to get worked out. So you either work life out, or life is going to work itself out in a way that you're not happy with. But I don't understand this aversion to work. I don't understand this aversion, to paying the price. Somebody said the other day, yeah, but dude, I want to, this is a pastor, and he was talking about retirement. And he was talking, so I pulled some Bible on his ass. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, the scripture says 6 days thou shalt labor. That's it. Didn't say retire.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't say till you're 65. 6 days thou shalt labor. Yeah. So this is life, bro. So what kind of labor do you want to do? Because you're doing it till you're dead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
So it's like, dude, I want it to go, as far as we can possibly go. Because again, it's what people always talk about, the 5-year plans and all this crap. I'm like, dude, Mac wasn't in my 5-year plan.
Right.
If I stuck to the 5-year plan, I would have avoided,
Yep.
You know what I mean, doing anything with this to do, because it wasn't a part of my 5-year plan. So my plan is 2 words: seize opportunities. Mm-hmm. That's it. And so both of you have brought wonderful things into my life. And now, of course, it was all started through social media.
Right.
But there's people in all those accounts, and people together can make stuff happen. So I get to know people. I couldn't have done any of this without the 2 of you. When I think of the followers that I have and the people that are now in my life on a regular basis, it came from you 2. You were the guys who shared my stuff to this new community. I was talking to the basement dweller metalheads. Yeah. You know what I mean? Before I met you two, next thing I know, I'm having to deal with freaking police, and not just police, not just the, not just the duty police officer, but I mean, we got you got police chiefs, we got agents from all Secret Service,
FBI,
and they're talking to me like I'm someone to respect, and that's kind of weird. You know what I mean? They're like, bro, I love your stuff, and it's great, man. I listen to it while I'm guarding President Trump. It's like, oh, okay, come on, dude. That's way too far. Cool, one of us is lying. One of us is lying. But it's just amazing to me that people don't see. That's an entrepreneur. So it goes back to what Wes just said about the future. It's being able to see. Always, it's not paranoid. It's not being worried.
Correct.
It's just always knowing that you have to strengthen the ground underneath your feet. Like Max says all the time, you got to keep putting more things in the pipeline. You got to keep opportunities available. So maybe it's something you can't get to right now. But hey, I was at a store the other day and I saw somebody's truck, and it's kind of a service that I needed. And I saw it was a lady getting in. But it said like Pete something. I'm like, well, that obviously ain't Pete.
Right.
It's got to be Pete's old lady. So I get out of the car and I start talking to her, and immediately it was her husband did all the kind of stuff that I needed to be done, that I've been holding out on, waiting for something to come around.
Yep. And
she's like, yeah, and it's slow right now for him, because of the industry that he's in and all this sort of stuff. I said, well, perfect. And she said, okay, I'm going to text him. I'm going to call him. I said, you better be texting fast.
Right.
Because that's how it is. So
man.
So he's already scheduled. I'll see him, I think, tomorrow in the afternoon. But once it gets in my head, it's done. So I'm going to get antsy as hell. Yep. I can't be, I'll get in touch with him next week. Nope. No, I got to call him now. I got to make that thing happen now, because time is limited.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of it. The clock is ticking.
And then if you don't do it, then it gets on the back burner. You forget, other things come up, and and it gets put on the back burner. But if you take care of it right away, it's always turns out to be better that way. Even if it's small, the small things, bro.
Coast with momentum.
Like I was even talking to Tom yesterday from the Eagles and Angels guy, and talked to him for a while, and then I left, and he sent me a message. Hey, send me your number. He sent me a message right when I left. He's like, send me your number. I was like, oh, cool. I'll send it to you, later. And he's like, no, send it over now. Like, so we got it. I got it. Like, make it happen now.
Right.
I like that.
Yep.
Boom, get the shit done. It's on. Not get back to you, this, that, and the other.
Right.
So yeah, so I find that pattern in a lot of dudes that are doing cool stuff. They take care of business. And then, like Pat was saying, they're always reaching. They're always getting on that, they're winning their trophies, they're hitting that pinnacle, they're getting whatever, and then you enjoy it. You win your fight, you reach a goal, whatever, and that's great. But then what's next?
Right.
Like, you can't stay on that podium forever and be like, yeah, I'm the champ, bro.
Right.
Like, no, man, you got to get down and now go find the next podium. Take your moment to enjoy it, and then go to the next thing.
On to the next thing.
It's there's no ending, and that's what keeps life exciting and keeps you passionate. And you were saying earlier, gives you that sense of almost like an addiction, purpose, because then it makes you feel good. Like, dude, I like that. I want to do that again. Or you can go the other way and say, oh, do shit that's not good for you. And like, that's people go down that road too. So that purpose sense, that accomplishment, giving that sense.
One of the things you said right when we first started talking was because we talk about this all the time, man, on our podcast, is fulfillment. Being fulfilled. Yeah. It's a good feeling to be fulfilled. Yeah. And man, I am getting that all the time. Not only with what I'm doing personally to better myself and to better, make my family comfortable, but helping other people, helping people be better people. Yeah. Yeah. It's fulfilling.
Well,
sense of purpose, man.
Yeah, and like been out a couple nights with Pat. He knows everybody in this freaking town, dude. Everybody, and he's like,
or everybody knows him,
or they know him. Yeah, but he remembers names, bro. I'm horrible with that. So that's Joe, that's Jim, that's it, that's it. I'm like, dude, and he's like, that dude's got a construction business. That dude's, a professional gardener, whatever, or plumber, and he gets to know these guys, and then he gets to learn like from the pros. Gets to take, and that's cool, man. And you want to surround yourself around people that are knowledgeable and stuff.
Well, there's something to be said about that. I talk about it when I run a Sentinel course about the importance of community, because let's say that, we were EMP'd or whatever, and we're in this massive survival type of situation. It's good to know it's not what you know, it's who you know. And skills and stuff become barter.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's good to know people. It's interesting to be interested, and if you're an interesting person and you are therefore interested in what others have to say, you could learn a lot from people, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do know a lot of people who are one-way communicators too. Yeah. It's all transmit, no receive.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're not going to know those people.
Right.
And those folks aren't going to give a shit about that.
No, they're not going to spend time with somebody like that after they first encounter that kind of situation. Like, all right, good to go. I like this dude that we can exchange some dialogue and learn some stuff,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and I think it comes down to that too, is also the folks that you hang. That's my mom used to say, birds of a feather flock together, all that, and it's true, man. You hang around bad, shitty people or kids who are bad, they're going to become that,
Right.
If you hang around good people and even all through age, I don't care what age you are, you're around good folks, community, whatever, that are, lifting each other up, then that's the way you want to be. And in business the same way, like you guys. Yeah, we've done some business stuff, but you guys are like, for me, are friends first,
Right.
And it's cool that we can also do some cool business together too, you know. So sometimes that works out really well.
Yeah.
And then there's other people like, okay, that dude's straight business. This is just a business thing.
Right.
And sometimes you have to work with people. I don't like that dude, but we can help each other out, So sometimes you put the pride down and say, you know what, this could work for both of us. All good to go. So it's sometimes balancing that stuff out can be tough.
I tell you, that's tough in business when you're starting out, is figuring out with whom to align.
Yeah.
Because initially I remember when I first generated T-Max, I was a tactical prostitute, bro. Anybody who came up and offered me something, I was like, hell yeah. I wasn't careful.
Okay.
Like now I'm careful.
Right.
Like, who is this guy? What does the company represent? Do they have any skeletons in their closet type of shit, Do they have any baggage? I wasn't researching any of that stuff.
Because now they put you in that pile. Like if something goes down with that dude, that dude's Wes or Pat, that's his buddy. Whoa, dude, no, man. I met that dude 5 years ago and didn't know better either. So I worked with his organization or foundation, and I'd come to find out now he's whatever happens, you're associated to that.
You're guilty by association.
Yeah, man. So you got to be careful, especially nowadays. I'm the same way, dude. I'll research people. I ask my buddies instead of just, oh yeah, cool, let's do this, and that. And like, no. So again, it comes down to quality in your business, quality in the people you're surrounded with, quality in the products, whatever it may be. It's just keeping that consistency of quality in your life as a theme.
Yeah.
And you have to be super careful not to pick that low hanging fruit, man, when you're starting. Starting up.
It's tempting.
You know what? That's one of the things that I've never talked about. People say, some of the lessons you learned. I've never brought that one up. I just thought about it now, but I have to think about that and jot down some notes, because there was a lot of bad people that I was aligned with, and I found out after the fact and had to cut ties, but still my name is lingering. It's in their jet stream,
Right.
And and you can't take that back.
No.
Yeah.
It's with you. It's with you now. Even still now, 10 years later, I'm way back in that jet stream just a little bit, because if you research deep in the interwebs, you'll find some kind of article that I am associated with some kind of organization that went on to do dirty deeds.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's something to be said about relationships. I used to say a lot. The entrepreneurs understand this, that relationships are capital. Mm-hmm. It's capital to be spent. And sometimes the people you meet don't, like we said earlier, they don't necessarily pay something to you for a while down the road, right? We've known each other for a while, and we've been talking about having Wes on the podcast. I think every other
Since the
episode
beginning.
we mentioned, get
no.
Wes on here.
Yep.
So now there it is. But you just kind of you go with the relationship for as long as something is beneficial to you, when you're keeping it close. Obviously,
Right,
you know what I mean. But that's important. And like Mac was saying, you want to get to know people. You were saying the same thing. You obviously got to check people out. But at the same time, that's capital to be spent because somebody can solve a problem for you. You can solve a problem for somebody else. But the entrepreneur, I think, understands this better than the cog in the machine does.
Yeah.
So see people say that all the time online. You know, they're always bad-mouthing other people. It's like saying, dude, you know, I mean, you can like, for example, you can badmouth social media all day long. That's easy to do. But I want to see you go down the list of all the great things that have happened because of social media, the people that you've connected with. I would not know you two at all.
And it's necessary for
There would be a void in my life. CJ.
Yeah, man.
Be no bromance.
Yeah. Well, I heard a rumor today that we might be able to go for a spin later in a really cool car. So so I was gonna ask Pat and CJ, what was your first car ever?
Yeah, good. So
and how did you come to obtain that?
So I was working since 14, maybe a little bit before that, but shoveling snow, raking leaves, tilling gardens, mowing yards, and then I had a
Basic dude stuff.
Yeah, bro, and I had a 72 customer paper route. 72 customers. When I was
That's that early morning route.
Yep. When I was 15, I had one of my paper customers had a 1954 Chevy sitting in the driveway, and nobody was ever driving it. And the lady's name was Mrs. Osborne. And I said, Mrs. Osborne, what are you doing with this car? She goes, that's my son's. And I said, where's he at? He lives in Florida. And I just started chatting with her about it, and I just loved the way it looked, man. And it wasn't one of the cool years of Chevy. It wasn't 55 to 57. It wasn't even a 2-door, it was a 4-door. So it wasn't even a Bel Air, it was a 210.
Still
straight
cool,
6, 235, 3 on the tree. Yep. And the son, who they called him Ozzy, but
of course.
Yep, of course.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. He sold it to me for $650. I couldn't even drive it yet. I parked it in another paper lady. Her name was Mrs. Jazwinski. Woo, damn, man. I parked it in her garage because I didn't have a garage. And there I would work on it, sanding it down, replacing parts, and learning the basic dude stuff, man.
Wow.
And then I earned enough money to get it painted. And I remember, I think that cost me $300 to get it painted. And then when I was 16, got my license, I was driving that thing to school,
counting
bro.
every day for your license like that, dude.
I was driving it to school.
Yeah, mine's not glamorous because I just was like this really cheap little Honda so that I could go get to school and buy weed. Or
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think any wheels or wheels back then, man.
My girlfriend, though, in high school had a black T-top TA.
Oh, cool.
So I could see that.
So that's what we rode around in all the time was because you're not going to ride around in my car.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're just cool, man.
But back then it was funny how this gets us into the nostalgia thing again, like we always get into on our live streams, which is we start to talk about, okay, well, what was everybody's deal about cars back then? Because it just doesn't seem like it's that way today.
Nah.
No, I don't. Yeah. Even like I'll talk, even like with my kids or other kids that are younger, they just don't see it like way I did or
Symbol
my
of
buddies.
freedom when we were kids.
Yeah.
The freedom, dude. For me too, it didn't even matter what it was. Wheels were going to be wheels because it was like, dude, I can freaking drive. Man,
What was yours?
It was a 1966 Ford F100 short bed.
Oh, cool.
Truck.
F100.
Yeah.
66. Cool.
66
That's
white.
a 6-cylinder.
Straight six. Yep.
Not a 218. I forget how many seats, cubic inches that was.
It was a small.
Was that 3 on the tree?
No, it was a stick shift. 4-speed.
4-speed, yeah.
Yep. And $900, man. Wash dishes all summer, and I couldn't drive it yet, so because it was a 4-speed. And I learned. I drove my mom's Buick for my learning and all that, and so my mom came up and drove it home for me, and got it, and I was just, dude, this is so cool. Just being excited. It was a little beat up, a little rusty, and but like just going in there and getting the armor all and shining stuff up, and then
because it's
changing
yours,
the
bro.
lights and all this. Yeah, you're just
yours.
so like, oh my god, this is so cool, and just being so excited about it, and then I had that for a while, and then of course as things go, you're like, man, I want a V8, dude, and I bought this Ford Ecoline 1970 '6 Ecoline pervert van. Like, dude, why? Like, just didn't.
Candy.
Didn't
Do you want some candy?
It didn't
Have
run.
candy.
Yeah, it didn't run. It was in some dude's backyard. And I bought it for $100. And me and my buddy picked it up, towed it to his house, and spent the entire summer taking that straight 6 out and putting that 302 in it that didn't run, and then figuring out how to get it running, man. So the entire summer was a cool learning lesson. I didn't have my wheels, but we got that 302 in it. Remember the one day finally getting it to fire up, and none of the mufflers weren't on there. Dude, it was just freaking loud as hell, and drove it down to the Midas or one of the muffler shops and got the. But yeah, it was cool, and but that motor it sucked. I was like, should have kept that straight 6 in there, but the V8, man. You know, but yeah, they're fun. Their nostalgia is cool behind it, man. I still love them, and there's just something really cool about it.
Remember just how the price points of things back in those days,
dude.
You know, the under $1,000
Oh yeah,
barriers.
Yeah,
you
got cool stuff for under whatever stuff.
Yes, yeah, it's 400, 700, 800.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if like for rent, for cars, you had to be under that $1,000 barrier because you were over that. It was like, dude, that dude's spending some money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Major bank, bro.
It's
because you would have to work all summer, literally, and to work all summer to make $700. You assumed you're not going to see that dude all summer.
Yeah, you worked every day, dude. Like
to make that money, make that much money.
But you had that goal, like, dude, I gotta get that car, bro, or whatever it was.
I bought a second car in high school because I had a job during the summer laying blacktop.
Oh,
so imagine I had them 2 years in a row, 81 and 82, $11.05 an hour.
Wow.
And 81
that's
and
good
82.
money, bro.
That's really
dude. I'll be laying some freaking road.
Yeah. I mean, the work sucked. It was hard.
No, that's work right there.
It was freaking hard. But I bought with those earnings a 1972 Impala.
Ooh.
So really good. Just
I
cool
never heard
car.
about these cars, dude.
Yep. So that was the 350.
Now,
the
Impala, is that the long one? Is that the long car?
Yep.
My brother got one of those. It was like almost like a subdued yellow.
This one was sharp, shiny,
with a white
root beer,
top.
candy brown, and just perfect condition. The plastic was still in the back seat.
Damn.
Yeah,
how long?
But that was over
that thing,
the $1,000 mark. So I was that kid.
Wow.
Because I still had all my other jobs,
making $11 an
after
hour,
school,
bro.
Yep,
Dude.
and then had the summer job. So I was that kid. Yeah, I was working, man. I was working. I was making cash. But,
that's another difference I see nowadays. And I've hired kids. So I've hired high school kids, and none of them ever work out. It's always the people that are like, you know, a little bit older, like 30 to 50.
Yep.
You know, because I think that the drive's different. And I remember my first job I remember leaving, it was 5th grade, probably 12. And there was a sign on a post, the light post, had Mickey Mouse on, and it was like, come go, free trip to Disneyland, earn money, blah, blah, blah. And I took the piece of paper and went home and called this number, called this dude. And he's like, I'll pick you up tomorrow at 4. We sell newspaper and magazine subscriptions. I was like, okay. The dude shows up in a Volkswagen bus with like 6 other raggedy looking kids in there. I'm like, oh shit, all right. Get in. And he gives us this thing to read off with the clipboard. You know, you're going to go, and here's a magazine. He give real quick brief.
Right.
And I'm dropping you guys off in these neighborhoods, and then I'll be back to pick you up at this other point.
damn, that's some shady work there.
Bro, yeah. So this guy would drop us off into these neighborhoods, and this was already after school. He'd pick us up, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and we were home by like 9. Because nowadays I'm like, dude, I would never let my kids do that, you know?
Yeah, right.
And he would drop us off, and we just go door to door. Hello, Mrs. Whatever, I'm so and so, and I have these. You know, we were selling magazine subscriptions, and the scheme was if we had a certain amount sold, you get a trip to Disneyland, and it was paid. It was like $6 an hour, whatever. I don't even know what it was. But when you're a kid, you know, it's like, and I was this kid that was in the dumpsters looking for the aluminum cans, taking them down and getting. I was a kid going to the old lady's house, and hey, you need your to the nice neighborhoods. You need your driveway shoveled. Right. There's always ways to make, you know. So I always liked that as a kid, just having your own source of income. So nowadays when I see kids, or even high school, I've hired high school kids, they don't want to put in the work, man. Because of what now the comforts of society.
They've never been bored, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's when I see kids out there working, hustling now, I love it, and I'm trying to get my own kids to do that more. But
Same.
yeah, it's and then earning your own stuff, man, earning your own car and all those things, man. Because then I think that's when you really appreciate stuff, obviously, than just be given everything. And I'm kind of a victim to that too. But nowadays, you know, I grew up that way and I don't want my kids to. So I do tend to sometimes probably spoil them in ways I shouldn't.
Yep.
You know, so I'm trying to be better about that myself and let them experience that work ethic. Yeah. So it's a tough one for sure, you know.
Yeah, it is, because you want them to be hard workers, and in another sense, you want them to be governors, you know, leaders and things. And so it requires a different kind of development, you know?
Yeah.
But they have to be able to start somewhere. It's got to be, you know, somewhere where you exercise responsibility. And that's the big thing. I love a kid to hard work. I want them to understand why. I want them to understand the philosophy behind it, the theology of work, W-O-R-K. And again, like I said before, I don't understand the aversion that people have to this. It's the key to everything. I remember my favorite interview with Steve Jobs back in '93 when he was just started Next. He'd been canned from Apple, and it's this long interview, but it's just one part where he says, you know, when you grow up, he said, you get told by people, you know, have a good life, get married, have some kids, you know,
retire, go to Hawaii,
that kind of thing. Don't try not to bang into the walls too much. Don't do anything. He goes, and that's a good life. There's nothing wrong with that life. That's a good life as far as it goes. He goes, until you realize one thing, that everything around you that you call life was made by people who were no smarter than you. Mm-hmm. And that you can make your own things that change you. So he says, once you understand that if you push something in the world, this universe, that something pops out on the other side, that you can mold and shape things, history, he goes, you'll never be the same again. Because you can make things that one day people will call life. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So like we used to, you know, people will one day think our conversations and things, just think, well, that's just a part of life. Didn't those guys just fall out of the sky and we're talking crazy stuff online and we get to listen to it and build our life? No, they didn't know each other before. They had to get to know each other, trust each other, kick around with this podcast here and that company there, and finally get something together. But for some people, they're like, hey, got to have my Wes Whitlock, got to have my Pat Mack, got to have my Badassery. It's just a part of life. Somebody invented these stupid lights.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know
no,
I mean?
it's things evolve and things.
But that's
you
work.
want to be a part of that. You
Yeah.
want to be a part of that journey of, and that, again, it comes back to having a purpose. At the end of this life, I hope that I could leave some kind of freaking something better here when I'm gone. That's going to help somebody
Legacy,
do something cool, man. So I don't want to live a life that there's no meaning to it at the end, you know. And I find that pattern with a lot of the same dudes we're talking about, and you guys like. Those are the people that make the world go around, man. And it's a few. If you look at the population as a whole, it's a very small percentage of folks that are, and it's nothing against anybody out there that's comfortable to do what they're doing, the 9 to 5 and all that's great. Paying your bills and take care of your families and all that. That's great. You know, I just think some folks have that desire inside of them to try to make something that's for them that's more meaningful, you know. And with that, there's heartaches, there's failures, there's also a lot of things to be enjoyed with that, you know. But that comes with that freaking hard work and that sacrifice. You're gonna make, if you work hard, you're gonna sacrifice something, you know. So yeah, man, work's where it's at, man. It's but working smart, not hard, and not putting energy and time into something that's not going to have an ROI that's going to benefit you or somebody else. It's a waste of time.
It's like the proverb that says, a dull axe requires many strokes.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think there's work goals you should have, but I think there's eulogy goals that you should have. And that's what I'm working on now. That's what drives me more is the eulogy goal. Is I want to make sure I can tell you what they're going to say when I die. You know
right.
And so it's the eulogy goal. I mean, that season in life is well, like we talked about. We are middle aged. We reached middle age. So we're kicking our midlife crisis in the balls.
Right.
And so that's where you can live your life. It just, I mean, we talked about this 100 times. We talked about it once. It's like when you talked about dudes in their 50s back when we were in our early 20s.
Those guys were old, bro.
Dude, that was senior citizen shit right there, man.
And that way things have gotten cooler, I think. Because I remember dudes that were like, dude, 45, 50. They were old. They were fat. They were on the couch. You beat up, man. Fucking dude. Now dudes I meet in their 40s and 50s are like better shape than like 25-year-olds, man.
They're savages now,
they're,
man.
You know, and maybe some of this helps keep people responsible, not giving up, man, because it's easy. I think too many dudes give up when they hit that. Okay, they get out of the military, they get out of something they had purposeful in their life, and then it's over. It's like, man, no, it's not, bro. Like, there's still a bunch of shit you can do tomorrow, the next day, and 2 years from now. There's a lot more you can do instead of giving up. And even physically, like that's the fitness thing, man, and that's longevity part we talked about with Mac too. Yeah, I like to pound stuff, but I also like to make sure that I can maintain for a long period of time and for many more years, be functional. So just because you get older or whatever doesn't mean you need to stop doing that stuff. Yeah. Actually, I feel better, and I'm probably stronger than I was, in my 20s, dude. Maybe not recover as fast, but dude, I can, and that's also for me a mental thing that keeps me in check with my emotions too, man. Relieving that stress and creating shit. I create a lot of ideas when I'm working out. Like that's where stuff comes to me, man. Like, oh, dude, so it's important, man.
That's when I have epiphanies too.
Yeah, man. I call it my office, where I have we have work with my staff. It's in the gym.
It's therapy, bro.
Ideas, man. So it's important, man. So if you're not out there doing something, man, get busy doing something physical for sure, because it's not just the physical, it's that mental part too.
Get busy living, or get busy dying.
Well, I think when I mentioned the goals series that we're doing in the squad, we talk about progressive dominion. It's about the comprehensive nature of goals. So people say, I don't have any goals right now in life. I said, no, you have a goal. Your goal every day should be to be improving health, family, relationships, work, career, finances, that's always, because those are the things that are present realities right now. You're probably in debt right now. You probably have no savings right now. You're probably, and
that you have the direct power to be able to do something about it.
Right. So you should always be improving those areas. So, take care of that first. Do you have a plan for any one of those areas of life? Because if you don't, then you're waiting for life to work out something for you. So people, they think, okay, well, if I wait around long enough, circumstances will eventually come together, and I'll do that thing I say I've always wanted to do. Yep. It's like, okay, well.
And then before you know it, you can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
it's too late,
so I can't do it because of this, because of that, because of that. So it's always about their circumstances. They never realize it's not the circumstances that need to change. The only circumstance that needs to change is you. You change the way you look at things, and you'll change what you do. So they don't have enough value attached to something. So I always tell them, listen, when you are less afraid of the work that's involved than you are attached to these mediocre circumstances, you'll finally do something. Yeah. But for them, they think that the discomfort that they think of how much work it will take to get something,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing that they can't do that math. But the only reason why they do that is because of the luxury and ease. There's no other reason. Because you take away the light switches and the thermostats and the refrigerators and the Netflix, suddenly privation steps in, and you'll be doing everything that you have to.
Yeah.
So life is too damn comfortable. It's too fucking tempting.
And that's why Mac, I think, hit it right too when he says you gotta get uncomfortable. And if you look back to even the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, these guys, these philosophers that were teaching the emperor stuff. They preach that stuff. Go outside, get cold, walk around, get cold, get uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And these guys could have been living like fucking dude, however they wanted. But so they would force themselves to be in this environments that were uncomfortable to keep them wanting to grow and to remind them, So it applies today, man. We've gotten so soft and weak and comfortable that we don't want to even test ourselves to get uncomfortable, most people anyway. So it's important because that's where, like you just said, lights go out this and dude, now I gotta survive. I gotta do something. So just do that. Apply that wherever and whenever you can to your daily life, that could be working out because it's uncomfortable. Good. It's going to make you grow. It's uncomfortable to learn a new subject, or it's uncomfortable to maybe have a conversation with somebody about something that's been bothering you or them. And it's but you do it. And then after you're like, oh, cool, man, I feel better, So yeah, it's important for sure. And yeah.
Yeah. Whenever people tell me, they'll write in or they'll tell me that they're frustrated. And I'm like, hell yeah. That's badass, man. Frustration's your friend if it'll drive you out of the nest.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That means you're not copacetic with the circumstances, bro. But, you're the game changer. You're the element. It's up to you. Good news. Holy shit. 2 arms, 2 legs. Everything's working. You have this power and ability to change your life in ways that it's unimaginable to you. If you were to literally be able to see the things that you're actually capable of, it'd scare the living shit out of most people. But if you can get to the place where you're like, no, I'm not afraid of what my potential is. Get to that place where you're like, I'm not fearful of it. I'd like to kind of get to know my other self. I tell people all the time, listen, hey, on top of that mountain you're afraid to climb is a stronger you. I'd love for you to meet that person. Yeah. And that's what you'll achieve. And it puzzles me, but my only answer for it is, again, the luxury and ease. And I think if there's anything that all of us, I think, do, we're in the business, hopefully, of trying to make others uncomfortable. Because I welcome other people, mentors, coaches, or friends, and colleagues making me uncomfortable. We talk about, there's the iron sharpens iron, but it's also strike and ignite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got a lantern, I got a lantern. You say something, throw a match in me, and I get lit up. I'm like, hell yeah, man. That's why you want to surround yourself with people like this. Look how lucky I am.
Yeah. Well, no, it's true. Like I was even talking to Rebecca last night after you left about just some business stuff and some stuff that she's seen and stuff and some recommend. And she's like, don't take this wrong, but this or that. And I'm like, dude, no, I want to hear this. Tell me. Right. Because I too can get comfortable in business with, okay, I'm doing everything right. I need an outside voice that's going to tell me, not, oh, you're great. This is kick ass, bro. I need you to fucking do, dude. No, this, I like the way you used to do this. And this kind of got different and weird. Cool. Tell me that. I want to hear that.
Well, you know who your friends are.
Right.
Too,
when
they can say, hey, man, when they could give you criticism that may seem negative, but you turn it into a positive.
Yeah. Right.
But getting that criticism if it's from a friend, that it's legit and they give a shit about you.
Yeah. And then it helps you realize too, like, oh, cool, I didn't see it that way, man. But this very well for a long time, so I'm going to take that in and be like, dude, that's something I need to think about. Thank you. So that's good not to always be around yes people and all that. And you find that in social media too. Whatever. Oh yeah, dude, awesome. Like, dude, no, man, that wasn't fucking so cool. I need to do something better here. Whatever. And you calling yourself out sometimes if you need to, or having the right type of people you're around to say, hey, bro, this, that, or the other, that you might not, because nobody's perfect, bro. Right. Nobody knows everything. Nobody's fucking perfect, and nobody has all the right answers. Right. So I like to get feedback from, and you don't want to be that person where it's just everything I do and say is right. I don't need you. I don't need you. Whatever. That's not a good way to live, man. And I've done that. I've done stuff like that. I've been like, I don't need anybody. I'm on this, that, or whatever. No, man, you can't live. You can't think like that. You might be certain things that you're sure about, and you're alpha and this, that, and the other. But it's good to get pulled back in once in a while and listen to people and open up again to people instead of closing yourself in a fucking box.
It's that whiteboard session, man. Having that boardroom meeting, even if it's with just one other person you trust, but you have to agree, hey, let's not drink each other's Kool-Aid. I love that shit, man. Yeah. Like running a whiteboard session, it's like, all right, no Kool-Aid drinking, no group think. Here's the idea. Don't tell me I'm freaking great. Because I know I'm great, bro.
I already know that.
I don't need that. I need to know where am I fucked up?
Right. Yeah. Where's my blind spot? Yeah. There's a proverb that talks about the wise man. To the wise man, correction is like cool water to a thirsty person. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, it also says, but the wounds being words of correction. There's another one in the book of Hebrews where he talks about, he says, if any child is without chastisement, without correction, he is a bastard and not a son. Yeah. Because a loving father will chastise his children, right? So if you are without chastisement, in other words, you're an unruly person full of yourself and all these things, nobody can speak into your life because you're brother wonderful. You're a bastard, not a son. You've never been, I can tell you've never been disciplined. You've never been raised. You've never been prepared to govern. So you're a bastard, not a son. I don't want to walk around like a bastard. So my ears are open for correction. If it comes through a 5-year-old, it comes through a 5-year-old, you know?
Which is probably the best advice you're going to get because out of the mouths of babes.
That 5-year-old's honest as hell, man.
You
look funny.
Yeah. Your beard is stupid. It's like, well, damn, man.
Yeah. I had recently, and this has been eating at me for a bit, and again, being corrected by a child. So we were out of my place, and my dog was out there, you know, playing around. And a dog wandered onto the property, and my dog's going crazy, you know. And I'm like, oh, I'm holding him back, and I'm like, oh, he'll just, you know. And my son was like, dude, that's somebody's dog. We need to get him. We need to find out whose house he is. And my dog's going crazy. I'm like, I need him to get out of here because this guy's going crazy, and I don't want to deal with this other dog right now, and not having the passion and you know, having the heart that he did. So the dog left, and I was like, oh, cool, forgot all about it. I was like, oh, it's Mateo. I was like, it's probably neighbors or something. I'm sure he's fine. And Mateo I could tell was upset about it. He's like, we should have got him. We should have. And I was like, and about 3 days later, I was driving back. I was driving to go see Mateo, and there's a car on a busy road. It's got smoke coming from it, and it's pulled over. And I'm like, oh, dude got in an accident or whatever. The dude's getting out. And I'm passing by him, and I don't see another car. But I see that dog that I'd seen in my yard. He just ran it over.
Yep.
And there, I was like, fuck.
Yep.
You know, so he was right. I could have let my dog go. Maybe we just sniffed him, played him around instead of being selfish to my own whatever. Instead of saying, you know what, let me take this dog inside and let's try to get the other guy. But when I saw that, it kind of was a gut check, man. I was like, man, I need to listen more sometimes to my kids and having a little bit more passion.
To that innocence.
That innocent side. And he was right,
Yep.
man. That's what happened. Exactly what the hell he said was going to happen. You know? So yeah, man, those type of things kind of can put you into check one spot once in a while and say, you know what, let me get uncomfortable here, because I could have got uncomfortable dealing with my dog, got him in, it got that dog, try to find out if it had a name, a number. It would have been uncomfortable. It was easier for me just to hold my dog back, say,
right on.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. He contextualized it as not just taking care of the dog. He did the math. The dog is owned by somebody. He looked at the whole social situation and he's like, okay, we have a moral obligation here. It's funny because as you're talking about that, I'm thinking there's an Old Testament law that would say, if you come upon your enemy's ox, he says, enemy's ox caught in a fence or in a ditch, you are not to just walk by.
Yep.
You have to let it loose. That's where they get in the New Testament, love your enemy like yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And that's, because you can't, and to me, that's perfect justice. That's perfect justice because I don't have to love everybody. The screaming social justice people want to eliminate all hatred from the heart. They want it completely expunged. They want, you can't do that. The issue is, are you treating people like yourself despite your differences, whatever your differences are? And that's the thing. If you're walking by your neighbor's ox, your enemy's ox even, and he's caught in a fence, do you just keep walking or do you let the animal go? Yeah. Well, for Old Testament, it's if you want to be like God, you got to set the ox free because God's not moved by emotion. Yep. He's not moved by your or his hatred or whatever. He's doing what he's doing because it's the right thing to do. And that's the thing is when principle conflicts with our personality and self-desires, that's a real act of courage because you're saying, man, I cannot do anything in any situation and nobody will be the wiser. Nobody will know. It's not going to be on the news. I'm not going to get arrested for it. Only I know it. So the issue is, where's that conscious sensitivity at for you? Yeah. And that's tough, man, because I've done the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good reminder, and you gotta, yeah.
But for you to have to see the dog on the side,
dude, it was like,
damn it.
I was like, what did that guy hit, man? Because I don't see a car, and then I see that dog, and I was like, boom,
Yep,
it all came
there
back to
it
me.
is.
You know, and hope Mateo doesn't hear this, but but it also told me that he is a good man. I was like, you are a better man than me, dude. Like that.
And of course, there's another way you can look at it. That dog obviously is a rebellious hound, and if it wouldn't have been that dude's car, it would have been somebody else's car.
Yeah. It's but dogs, man, dogs always get you.
Right.
Yeah, man. But you got some dogs. You got a dog,
Yeah,
man. We
man,
all
yeah.
love dogs, dude.
Absolutely, yeah. I just got a new one.
Yep.
8 months old German Shepherd, man.
Man,
Good looking pup, bro.
Dude, it's a gorgeous dog. I'm committed to. I've been talking to my daughter all week about, my approach to this dog. I've moved everything. I haven't been in my little office upstairs for 2 weeks now. I've relocated downstairs. I am on that dog like saran wrap. Yeah. But I got it to where she's like, place, she'll go off to some spot way the hell out there and stay there until I give her the command to come back. And we're doing the close watching, as we walk and all that kind of stuff. And but she's 8 months, dude. They want to chew fucking everything.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So I got to be on her constantly. But the thing is, I told my daughter, I said, I quoted her, I think it's Peter or James. I said, in your patience possess ye your soul. Keep telling her, in your patience possess ye your soul. Because patience means, there's a Greek word, it says hupomene, and it literally means the force of consistency. The force. People think patient just means waiting. No, patience means you're working while you're waiting. It's just that it's a long road. That's all. Yep. Not sit around doing nothing.
Wait, you did one on patience recently, didn't you?
Yeah,
that was good, man.
So it's about in your patience possess your soul. The word possess means to possess or control the soul. And so that's what I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with the body of a dog. I'm dealing with the soul of a dog. It's temperament. It's this. So I want to govern it. It's supposed to be governed. It's part of the dominion mandate. You know what I mean? That I'm here to have dominion over the fish of the sea, fowl of the air, and the beasts that crawl on the earth. Every creeping thing we're given dominion over. So I have to exercise it. So it's not a pet. And it can't just sit in the corner. It can't just do what it wants. It has to have the structure and regulation. So I'm like, well, I told her, my girl, I said, this is where we're going to practice dominion. We're going to practice dominion with this dog. It's supposed to be subject to us. Not in a bad way. It doesn't mean we don't pet it,
Right.
But it's just saying it has to understand that these are the rules, these are the things, and it has to have that governorship. So I said, but we got to be patient. So this means force of consistency, not just being consistent.
Yeah,
force of consistency.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? That I can't let her get away with anything. So when we were doing the inside and out stuff, invisible barrier is that door. So that means we get to the door, sit, sit. And that means then stay. I go outside and I'll sit there and let's kind of move stuff around a little bit and just make her stay there.
You'll putter about.
Yeah, putter about for a little bit, and then I'll say, okay. Then she comes through the door. Then you got to stop there. I'm putting your leash on out here. Sit, stay, and then we don't move until it's time to move. And so getting them used to that, the punishment with command and all that kind of crap. But it's like, okay, well, I got no choice.
Well, it's also called being responsible. Like you're being, people get these dogs, you get dogs like those, dogs that need that discipline, they need that training, they need that governance. They get them and they put them in a yard or and they don't, and then, that dog is not living its full potential, or they'll get punished for things they just don't know because they haven't been trained, or the person that got it, it's their fault. It's not the dog's fault. So you're doing it. That's the way it should be.
That's right. Being a responsible dog owner. Yep. Because that dog needs that.
They're begging for it, man.
It needs to learn stuff. It needs to be
challenged.
Trained. It needs to be challenged.
Yeah, I wanted to get her to the goal to where
cruel to the dog.
To be focused on. I want her to be focused on me, because especially when you go outside, there's so many things that are demanding her attention.
Oh yeah, animals and
holy crap,
squirrels.
Oh my God! And,
German
and they can smell shit from like 10 miles away. She's got these big old ears, so she can hear every damn thing. And I got the squirrels are now tripping because they can see this big thing out in the yard, and they'll go up. They scramble up the trees, like 6 of them. And then they all start their chatter and all this kind of stuff. And so she's tripping. I'm like, dude, I need you to urinate.
Right.
You know what I mean? But she's not going to urinate until she's like cool.
Right.
But I got to get her in that moment. I can't do that with squirrels cussing at her from the fucking trees, man.
Throwing nuts at her.
Holy crap, dude. But those are I think whether it's your kids or your life or anything, it's about self-government. And because the more you govern yourself, the less you're governed by others.
Absolutely.
So that's the point of the podcast is get your shit together.
Yes, yeah, man. Yeah. We got to wrap it up soon.
Yeah, bro. But I want to hear about this new bourbon.
Yep. So that's Taconic from New York. Man, that bourbon
it's got Mac on there.
Yeah, it's awesome. That shit is so freaking yummy. I mean, it is my favorite bourbon. I mean, when people ask me now, hey, what's your favorite bourbon? And of course, they never heard of it. They're thinking,
and I know you're a big bourbon dude.
Yeah,
man.
they're thinking Tears on a bar shelf.
Yeah,
So bourbon's like beer. There's a lot of distilleries out there, and you have to explore, and figure out what you like, what soothes your palate, what you got to find your perfect mate when it comes to bourbons and just like anything, coffee. Beer,
a steak.
But I think people are now in the mode where they're willing to order things.
Yep.
Whether it's coffee or this. Now, you just negotiated a heavy deal with.
I just crushed.
Two
man,
of those, the Kill Cliff,
man.
Yeah, yep. That was a hard deal to negotiate. Now I've been a Kill Cliff guy for some time now, and. We just asked them to be a sponsor of the University of Badassery.
Hell yeah, man.
Heck yeah, bro. Yeah. So they're an official sponsor now, Kill Cliff, and I'm drinking one of the CBDs right here. Yep, for whatever ails you.
Well, we started this thing today, Wes, not knowing what platform or whatever we were doing it on, but it
kind of a hodgepodge.
Yeah, no, I think it was perfect, man. I think that's it was us getting together and talking about some cool stuff, and this is exactly what I wanted to do.
Yep, good.
Whatever it is, hey, cool. Hopefully people like it. You know what I mean?
People are gonna love this episode.
Yeah,
I can already tell.
Dudes have been asking, like, whenever I do something with you or him, like, man, you guys got to get together and do. I was like, it's coming, bro, it's coming. So finally, we got to get together and chat, man. I got to talk to Pat for a couple of days now already, so now I get to meet you finally.
Man.
You got good word, man. You got some good intel, good information, man. So I appreciate it and love the metal stuff too, man. We freaking love heavy metal.
We didn't get into metal because we could just talk that forever. We get consumed by the metal.
Matt's got a playlist on his phone. He hooks up to a jukebox down there, and so he can sit outside, and he's got it lined up to play all this cool
He's got
stuff.
to check out my playlist.
Your Attack. Oh. Yeah, your playlist. Yeah, and then
he's got to check that
like
one
he'll
out.
even
Spotify.
leave. Yeah, it's on Spotify, right?
Yep.
He'll leave, but he can leave the songs queued up. So even if it's gone, I'm still like, I got my Metallica and Judas Priest and like Aerosmith and like some Doors maybe in there. There's some cool stuff. Yeah. And then last night was like somebody threw in like Britney Spears in the mix, and we're just like, Mac was like, the fuck is this? It was funny, man. But yeah, I love it, man. Love that you can combine the metal into the podcast and all the other stuff, man, because it's badass.
Yeah, I mean, exactly how people always ask us how we got started, and it all started that way. It was at me asking him after posting this video of him peeling out in a rent-a-car.
Yep. Oh, Super Sport Camaro jamming on Soulfly.
I was like,
massive brake stand burnout.
I've seen a few, man.
Of smoke. Oh yeah. I did several right in front of your shop.
Dude, you broke my windows
off. Damn.
I remember that.
We were like upstairs.
Donuts, bro.
He's like, I gotta run down to the store, and we were upstairs. I think Rebecca was up there.
Yeah.
He does a great burnout, and then also quiet, and all of a sudden we heard his
smash.
And Rebecca was like, I think that's a glass. I was like, if anybody can get away with that, Mac, that's all right. That's all right. No, it was cool. And then the next day, it was mysteriously replaced. So yeah, it was like replaced right away. I was like, dude. But yeah, it was cool, man. Freaking burnouts and Mac's got those down good. And speaking of, we're gonna go out and check out his 1965, right?
Yep.
GTO.
Yep. We probably won't be doing any burnouts in her, but
just go for a little cruise. I want to hear those headers, bro.
Yep. We'll take her out on the airport road and bring her up to Terminal Velocity.
it's
Yeah.
it's a beautiful
Yeah, man.
thing.
Thanks for being on this. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining
dude.
us, and I'm glad we made this little collab here.
Yeah,
Hell
love
yeah.
it,
Joining a
man.
couple podcasts together.
Fuck yeah. So people want to follow and check your stuff out. Where do they go?
Yeah, you can go. So Wes Whitlock's mine, and then I got Invader Coffee, a Rogue American, any of those. You can find us on the whatever social medias and all that stuff. And YouTube now. I'm just kind of dabbling in. I'm new to YouTube, bro. So we're gonna start dabbling a little bit into that with some more video. We might be doing some stuff with. Giving some, business advice and stuff like that I get asked all the time, and kind of how to work on some different platforms and stuff like that we've learned over the years. So trying to give some education out there to some folks, and just having fun. I love the feedback too, man. A lot of because it's all new, and getting feedback from folks has been cool. So yeah, man, you can find us all there, man, and hopefully you guys make it out to Austin.
Yeah, for sure.
I know Mac will be there at some point to train again. Well, maybe not.
Nope.
His training days are over.
No, if I come out, I'm coming to visit you, and
There
I'm going
you
to
go.
stay in a resort.
There you go.
Yeah, well, my whole family's down there, brothers, mother,
Yep,
everybody
that's
in
right.
Austin. So I'm at home there. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. But yeah, dude, I know that anything that you do, it's going to be awesome, and it's from the heart, and it's the real deal, and that's why. And I'm just so thankful to finally see you face to face like this and be able to do some work together. I think there's just ultimate badassness. So, Rogue American Apparel, Invader Coffee. And now you got your own podcast that you've been doing?
Yeah, it's just going rogue with Wes Whitlock. So yeah, I'm on all the
Usual
platforms,
suspects.
usual
Stitcher,
stuff.
Bitcher, Spotify,
Yeah, all that
Lopify,
stuff,
Google
man. So I got
Play.
we got some cool guests. Everybody's been asking for Matt. I wanted him to be my first.
Yeah.
And I was going to come out, but things happened with the shop. I hired some more folks, and I couldn't make it. So I finally got him on here, or on yours, whatever.
Whatever this
Together
is,
to
yeah.
talk.
Collab.
Yeah, put on, yeah, man. This collab
Right.
is badass. So a lot of dudes have been asking. So hopefully, and then like I said, the squad stuff's cool too. So anybody that's needs to look into that, they should, because it's
I think
really
this,
cool
this
people on
podcast
there, man.
episode should be going rogue with Badassery.
I was just going to
Yes,
say,
I like
because
that.
of what you just said, it's a collab. I said,
Yep.
that's exactly what it is. And
Yep.
we'll post it as, it'll be
Hey, we might
episode
be the first
16.
one.
What episode are you on now?
This will be number 6.
Okay, so this will be the next one. This will be 16. This will be our episode 16, your episode 6.
Yep.
6. We need one more.
We'll call it episode 616.
There you go. Right on, man. Cool.
Yeah, very cool. All right, guys, listen, thanks for joining us. Follow Mac at TMAX Inc.
TMACSINC.
And Metal Motivator, and you can get all the pertinent links from there. Thank you again to Conic Distillery, Kill Cliff, but Invader Coffee, Wes Whitlock, for sponsoring all things. Go do something great today. High five yourself, celebrate yourself. Don't talk down to yourself. Be nice to those around you. Smile more, laugh more, drink more, listen to more metal. Whatever you do, Mac.
Raise your attitude, raise your altitude. Don't suck.
Metal up.